My affiliation with Pasadena is that I just work at the Pasadena, I shot my show at Pasadena Media Center. This is my 30th year in the entertainment industry. I started in '86 out on Venice Beach, California, telling jokes past my hat. Did 9 1-hour shows, be 40 minutes of comedy and 20 minutes of getting my money. I did that from '86 to '95. Right in the middle of that, I won Star Search for $100,000, gave half to the homeless, and went right back out and kept on doing my thing. And so since then, I've done television, film, and theater, and now I'm doing motivational speaking as well as writing books. Oh yeah, I won Star Search. Won that, met my lady and gave it to the homeless, trying to get it back.
That's awesome.
My homeless people, man, they be shopping. They got carts and everything. I just want to clarify that's a joke. Cause I said that before, and then people wrote in and they said, "Well, you should have gave the money if you didn't want to give it." No, I gave it because I wanted to give it, and I also wanted to joke about it. Yeah. My concern is still my concern is that we're supposed to give back. That's what we're here. That's what we're on this planet is to serve. Our purpose is to find our brother and to help our brother. That's the whole scheme of this thing, is to help each other. I came to California from Chicago, my home, from the projects, Robert Teller Home, 4352 South State, Apartment 909, South Side. So I came from Chicago to California to be a millionaire. But when I got here, I realized that my job is to find my brother. Until I find you, I'm not really home. So in embracing you, I really embrace myself. So instead of trying to be a millionaire, I'm attempting to be a billionaire of being. I want to be the greatest human I could possibly be. So instead of trying to make a living, I live my making. And my making shall make my living. So my thing is we're supposed to give back. We're supposed to serve. Everything we have is a gift. We woke up this morning. You know how many people didn't wake up this morning? Who was here yesterday? Who had plans for this afternoon? So every breath we take is a gift. And we're supposed to give back. And when we give back, we even receive greater. But you don't give to get back. If you're giving to get back, then that's not a gift. That's a bargain. But the thing is, we already have all the gifts. So we're supposed to try to give it all back. If you ever want to have anything, you ever really want to have anything, learn to give it away. If you give all to all, you'll have so much stuff you won't know where to put it. Yeah, so that's what I do. I give, and it's tricky too, because actually they tricked me. I wasn't ready to answer the question. I was on Star Search, and Ed McMahon said, "Well, Mr. Colyar, if you won $100,000, what would you do with it?" And I said, "I'd give half to the homeless." Because I was on Venice Beach telling jokes. I was living in a one-room and rooming with a roomer. If I had $50,000, that would have been plenty for me. I didn't need the whole $100,000. When I see people lying on the streets, if you go to downtown LA, you go down to 4th Street and Main, you'll burst into tears, man. When you see people living in boxes and handmade tents and stuff, it'll just tear your heart out, man. And then I get to come home to a beautiful home and a beautiful queen, and I wake up in the morning and all my body parts work, and I have a decent mind, and I have a great God. And when I have all of that and I don't give back, then I am a fool. So giving back was easy. So when he said, "What would you do with the money?" Well, I didn't even think a second thought. I just said give half to the homeless. And I hadn't really thought that out. And then, because in fact, my big brother called and cursed me out about it. My brother in Chicago, Yolan, and he said, "Well, you want to get the money? You could have gave it to your family, And I said, "Well, my family could go to work. How about that?" But I felt I should give it to the homeless. And I remember the first week we got the check, I gave away $37,500 to homeless shelters on the west side of LA. And for 6 months, I couldn't even walk because I was floating. I just floated on air for 6 months. There's an awesome feeling that comes over you when you help other people, when you give to other people. Ask anybody about me. I give to people every single solitary day. I make a point of finding somebody that I can give something to. And if I see an old lady, I'm always going to do something for her, because that's my mama right there. If I see an old lady eating in a restaurant, I got that. Don't worry, I got that. If I see an old lady carrying something, I got that. Because my mother would love that. My mother would appreciate that. So that's why I gave back. That's why I think we all supposed to give back, And giving, man, really is what it's all about. Serving is what it's all about. That's what God is all about, Yeah. Everything is work. If you want to accomplish anything, it's about work. Everything God created works. Everything God created was built to work. And everything God created has everything it needs to work properly. So work is a sacrament. And so no matter what the work is, it's holy. Because if you work, you get stuff. I was in Chicago with that same big brother, man, a few weeks ago, and I bought a hat for a friend of mine. And when I pulled the money out, my brother said, "Oh, man, you sure got a lot of money." And I said, "I always got a lot of money because I work." And it's a weird thing about work. When you work, people give you money. It's the funniest thing in the world. So yes, so I work a lot, and if you want to have stuff, you work. You just keep working. You can have everything if you're willing to work for it. So I love working. So I started my journey by doing stand-up comedy in Chicago. But I was inspired by Eddie Murphy, because in 1985, he was the hottest thing on television. He was the hottest thing in entertainment. You know, he was the #1 star of the #1 TV show, which was called, still is called Saturday Night Live. He had the #1 movie, concert film called Raw. He had #1 concert called Raw. And he also had the #1 comedy film, which was Beverly Hills Cops. He had all that. And he got all that doing jokes. And I didn't even know how to do jokes yet. So I went down my mama's basement and got me some Red Fox albums. And I learned how to tell some jokes. Because I always been funny, but I didn't have structure. And I said, if you can be a young black kid and get all this just by being funny, I want to be in that game. So I started learning jokes and doing little clubs. And I started doing street performance in Chicago. And I was really good in '85. And then winter came. And wasn't nobody trying to hear no jokes on State Street in December. So I packed everything that would fit in my 1967 Buick LeSabre, and I sold everything else. And I drove to California because I was under the impression that it's warm year-round in California. And back in '85, it still kind of was. The climate hadn't changed yet. It still stayed pretty hot all year round in LA. But I went to San Francisco, where it wasn't that warm in February. In fact, they had seals in the water. That's how cold it was. And I passed out on Fisherman's Wharf with stomach flu from being out there telling jokes. And then by then, someone had told me about this place called Venice Beach, this magical place. And magical it was indeed. I got there and found my calling, found my structure. Like I said, I ended up spending 9 years there. And during that time, I got to do all kind of TV shows. Robert Townsend put me in my first movie, Hollywood Shuffle. I didn't have but one line. It was, no, it's a muffler. Then from there, I went on to do Hollywood Shuffle and Johnny Be Good after that. Anyway, I just kept getting films and TV shows. I got on Martin, became Gina's boss on Martin, and things just kept evolving from there. You know, I did Hot Shots Part 2 with Charlie Sheen. And most of these shows I got from being on Venice Beach, because everybody makes it to Venice Beach eventually. It's the second largest attraction in Los Angeles, second only to Disneyland. It's Disneyland and then Venice Beach. So on any given Saturday or Sunday, 300,000 to 500,000 people walk up and down Venice Beach. And I was out there telling jokes and passing my hat. You could stand out there and do nothing. You could jump up and down and rub your stomach and wave at people and make $50 a day. So if you had any type of a craft, and I was a master of this comedy thing, you can make real money. And I did real money for 9 years, you know. And then by then, it was time to move on and do other stuff. So now I do film and television and all this stuff. But it's not an easy journey, you know. You got some friends that want you to make it, but they don't want you to make it better than they make it, you know. So you run into a lot of them. They want to see you do good, but they don't want to see you do better than them. So you run into a lot of that. You run into competition, you know. You run into haters, you know. But we often think that our enemies are out there somewhere. Our enemy is another comedian. Our enemy is the man, you know. Our enemy is the white man. Our enemy is society. No, we only have one enemy, and that's the enemy within ourselves. Once we kill that one, all the other enemies fall to the wayside, which really changes the way you think. So what I do is I live a life of success. I live a life of awesome. Every day I live my dream. I wake up with a gorgeous queen who loves me, you know. I love her and she loves me right back, you know. And I get to wake up to her every morning, you know. And if she turns over and smiles at me, you can stick a fork in me, I'm done, you know. And then I do what I love to do. All I do is create. All I do is art. And I don't know if you can tell, but we got so much stuff, we're on top of each other. I live in a little big house, though. I don't have no big old mansion. I got a little place. But we have art that we can't even put on the walls. If you go in the living room, I got art leaning up against the fireplace. I don't even have places to put the stuff we have, and we get gifts every day. And it's because we work hard, and we also try to give back. We constantly try to give back, you know. So my journey, it ain't the easiest, but it ain't the hardest. And even if it is hard, I love the sweat and the pressure. You know, sometimes you have to really struggle to get what you want. Some people don't understand the whole thing with the butterfly and the caterpillar. When a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, it has to break out of the cocoon. But if you help the butterfly out of the cocoon, the butterfly will die. It'll just drop dead. Because that struggle is part of its evolution. And it has to struggle to become that beautiful thing it is, you know. And I have a saying in my office about the butterfly turned to a butterfly, and And all the caterpillars was laughing at what he looked like, you know. But he was a butterfly. He became a better thing. But because he was different than them, they laughed at him. It's an awesome saying. I wish I could quote it, but I can't. But I'll show it to you later. But it's really an awesome saying. And the thing that you have to remember is, you're a butterfly. That's what you have to remember, despite what the people around you say, because you have done the work, you've struggled, you got out of that cocoon, and you know there's always the haters, there's always the crab in the barrel people who don't want to see you get any more, 5 minutes more time than them, 5 minutes more daylight, $5 more. It kills some people. Me, I believe in live and let live, man. I think there's enough here for everybody. That's why my heart is broken when I go downtown. I mean, we went downtown 2 weeks ago. Russell Simmons brought me down to the LA Mission, and we performed for 200 homeless guys at the Mission. And just driving through that neighborhood just broke my heart. And it meant a lot to me to perform for those guys. And it was hard performing for down and trodden guys, you know. And we made them laugh, and we moved their heart. And that meant something to me. And there wasn't no money in that. But my heart was so full, I didn't need any money. The night before that, we just gave away 12,000 turkeys with Jackson Limousine, the only black-owned, the biggest black-owned limousine service in Los Angeles. They do it every year. 10,000. I'm not talking about no capons. I'm talking about big double meat-eating turkeys with a huge box of food for everyone who wants it. We did it all day long. So there's power in giving. There's honor in giving. There's joy in giving. You sleep better. The food go down better. You have less gas. Okay, so that's why I do what I do. That's the way I live. The way I live. I love my life. I'm on so many projects, and some of them are working, and some of them are working hard at making working. But the process is exciting to me. Yeah. The project in Pasadena, I only have this one. It's called Michael's Very Best. It's a variety show, and I like to say that it is Ed Sullivan meets Michael Colyar in living color. Okay, and I don't know if any of you folks are old enough to remember Ed Sullivan, but he was the ultimate variety show host. You know, he didn't fool around. He came out, he said hi, he said a word or two, he brought on the act, and he kept it moving. And that's what we do with my show. You know, every show is a 1 hour show. We're on every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Los Angeles time. I always say LA time, because everybody don't know what Pacific time is. You know, I want to have people confused. You know, LA time is compared to your time, so you just adjust them. But 10 p.m. every Saturday, LA time. And all the person has to do is go on the internet and go to PasadenaMedia.tv. When you go PasadenaMedia.tv, the whole channel pops up. Now, there's 4 channels there. You want to hit Arroyo channel, ARROYO, Arroyo channel, and it pops right on. And so what I do is I have 6 to 8 artists each evening, depending on, you know, how much stuff they do. Some acts are longer than others, so sometimes I only have 6 acts on, sometimes I have 8, but it's a 4 hour show with some of every type of art you can see. I have dancers, spoken word artists, poets, comedians, wonderful comedians, awesome musicians. Ricky Rouse, like I said, one of the greatest living guitar players around. He plays with his teeth and behind his back. I've had black opera singers on there that will absolutely blow your mind. I got a contortionist that comes out in a little box and unfolds herself and does impossible physical things and folds herself right back up and goes into the box and closes it as the music goes off. It is an awesome show. You know, I do a little cussing. It's not a lot. But the little cussing, it's a nighttime show. We on the evening, we on at night, 10 o'clock, and then again it reruns at 2 o'clock. So it's adult, kind of adult, but it's not dirty, it's not filthy. We don't have a vulgar show, you know. It's a fun show, and if you watch the whole show, I guarantee you're gonna see 5 or 6 things that will amaze you and surprise you and entertain you and delight you, and things you didn't even know we do. We do a lot of stuff that's awesome, you know, and that's the way I try to present to you. So I've done 8 of these shows so far, and so you'll get a chance to see all 8 of them because they'll also rerun them, and each one is an hour of magnificence, and I'm just having fun, you know. I'm having fun, and I just want y'all to watch and come check it out and tell your mom and Pookie and Run and them to all gather up on the couch and check it out. You know, it's called Michael's Very Best, and I've handpicked every artist, every one of them I know. I don't have some casting director looking for talent. I went and saw these people myself, and I know they're awesome. And so I want to put them before the public so that they can see them. How important is it for us to support each other as black people? It's probably the most important thing in the whole wide world, to support each other as black people, and not just in business, but in life. You know, we live in a society that has taught us that we should hate each other, and they've done a really good job of it. They taught us that we should hate ourselves, and they've done an awesome job at that. You know, in our society don't want us to know about Africa. They don't want you to think about Africa. And if you think about it, they want you to think it's primitive and savage. Ooga booga, ooga ooga booga. They coming to get you, ooga booga. No, they don't want you to know that most countries in Africa do $100 million in film each year. They don't want you to think about what comes from Africa. All the oil, all the gold, all the silver, all the platinum, all the kings and all the queens. Because when we remember that we come from royalty, we'll be so busy lifting each other up, we won't have time to shoot each other down. But folks don't want you to remember that. So our society and our world has done a good job of telling people of color that they have no worth, that they have no value. But you can't buy into that. That's why you have to embrace each other. That's why you talk to your grandmama. Let your grandmama tell you about how great you are, because she remembers who we were when we stood taller, when we didn't have to shoot each other for a pair of shoes or because we didn't like what somebody was wearing. When we loved each other, when we had communities, baby, when we had neighborhoods. I grew up in a neighborhood, you know, where any parent on that block was my parent. That's why you didn't have gangs all up and down our streets. Every parent was our parent. If any child on my block did something wrong, the closest parent that saw him do it could sock it to him and then call his mama, who would have round two waiting for him when he got at the house. You didn't have no time for that foolishness because your parents wasn't having that. Oh, I was way more frightened of my mother than I was the police. I don't give a damn about the police. But my mother, oh, don't call her. See, you play too much. Don't call her mama. My mama didn't play that. My mama would shut it down. But now it's the opposite. Now, the parents are afraid of the children. So the children are running it, you know? Man, my mother did, look at what my mom did one day. One day my brother, he's about 6'4". My mother was 5 foot even. He said some ignorant back talking stuff to my mama. And she must have seen the World Wrestling Federation because she ran over to him. 5 feet. She jumped up in the air, wrapped her arm around his neck, threw both her legs up in the air, and slammed him to the ground. You know, I walked over and just started washing dishes. For no reason at all. I just started washing dishes. Washing dishes. That's it. So my mother wasn't having any of that. So I came up in a community. And we knew about pride. And we knew about how great black people are. That we can do anything. That our entire lives we've been given the least. And we've always taken it. And made the most of, what do you think collard greens were? Those were the weeds that white people didn't want to eat. And we learned how to season that and make it a delicacy. All the stuff they threw away, we took it and made it shiny and beautiful. Every sport we've touched, we've excelled at it. They'd keep us out of it until we got in. Once we got in, they had to watch us so they can get better. So embracing each other and loving each other, that has to be our goal. And working within our community and supporting each other, that has to be our goal if we want to elevate, because if you elevate one, you elevate all. I want you to win. I don't have to be the only one to win. When you win, I win. And so that's what we have to do if we're going to survive and if we're going to get stronger and greater. You know, and I'm in Chicago. I had a project I'm doing in Chicago trying to help turn around the black on black murders. And we're killing each other in Chicago like it's going out of style. And I keep telling my young brothers, the way the police are killing us around the country, we don't have to kill each other. Right. All we gotta do is be patient. You know? So we have to get back to embracing each other, to loving each other, and remembering how great our mothers and our grandmothers and our grandfathers were, who went through everything to give us the freedom to stand upright like men and to be able to do anything with our lives. You know, I'm a gladiator, I'm a king, I'm a Viking. That's how I live every day. And I don't let anybody tell me different. And every black person that I encounter, I remind them that they're great too. I think it's important. Yeah. Well, I have several projects I'm on right now. The one I just mentioned is called The Soundtrack of My Life. That's why in Chicago I'm creating a film short, animated, music driven. So far, Twister is on it, The Brat, Dave Hollister, GLC, Solo Redline, and Queen Nuisance. It's powerful music. It's a wonderful story that reminds black people of who they are and asks them to put the guns down. And every penny we make from this project, and Russell Simmons just came on to produce it with me, every penny we make from this is going to be used to create music studios and music programs in Chicago for inner city kids. So when I ask the kids to put the guns down, I don't want to just say put the guns down, now you're on your own. Go scramble. I want to say put the guns down, let me show you how to do something else. Maybe I can turn you into young Jay-Z's or young comedians or young actors or something that will empower you. Because the name of the game is self-mastery. We have to first of all understand what self-mastery is. To master yourself. To take yourself to every level. To master yourself in health. So you got to be physical, you got to eat right, you got to exercise and master yourself with spirit. You got to be connected. If you're not connected, you're out of line. That will probably explain why so much stuff is wrong in our world. You want to be aligned with spirit. You want to have good health. You want to have a great ideal. You want to have a mission. You want to have a dream. You know the first thing you got to do after you have a dream? Wake the hell up. Okay? And then once you wake up, then you can actualize that dream. We have to get to self-mastery. And my job is to remind everybody that we have the ability to be self-masters, to do everything, to own it all. We don't have to end up laying in the street. We don't have to end up without a job. We can have a job. If we really want a job, if we have our right senses, we can get a job. We have our right senses, we can get anything if we're willing to what? Work for it. We just talked about that. Some people just don't want to work for it. You know, you can't walk 4 miles in any direction without seeing a help wanted sign. Or it might not be the job you want, but people have to learn to start where they are. If you don't have anything, you got to take what they get. What do you mean? They only try to give you $5 an hour. That's below minimum wage, but it's more than you were making. Take the $5 and show them that you're worth $7. Get that $7 and show them that you're worth $10. I do a cruise every year. I go on called Capital Jazz Super Cruise. We just came back from 8 days in the West Indies. And it's the top R&B and jazz musicians are on doing concerts every night for 8 nights. We just came back. We had The Whispers, Shaka Khan, Joe, Music Soul Child, Floetry, Gerald Albright. That's like 1/3 of the people that's on there. Me and with other comedians. We do that every year. And then every year, I ask for a raise. And every year he gives me a raise. But guess what happened tonight? Tonight I asked for a raise and he said, Michael, I'm going to have to add to that because that number ain't round enough. You see what I'm telling you? You keep shooting for more and better and mastery. And the mastery comes to you. It comes to a point where they give it to you. You don't have to ask for it no more. They just start laying it in your hands. Because it's about self-mastery. It's about us unfolding into our greater selves. And if I can teach you to do it, then it helps me do it. Because everything I give you, I'm giving to me. I can't tell you nothing without teaching me. So don't be so vain. It's the thing I'm just saying this stuff for you. A lot of this stuff I ain't never heard before either. But now that I'm saying it, I'm also internalizing it myself for my next journey tomorrow, the next thing I do. So one of the projects we are doing is called The Soundtrack of My Life. That's the show in Chicago. Okay, and I'm looking for an animator. So if anybody out there knows how to animate, contact me. I'm easy to contact. ComicKing123 at AOL.com. I don't know how they have a show called The Kings of Comedy without the damn king. Okay, ComicKing123 at AOL.com. If you know animators or can get me to an animator, let me know. Let me tell you how this project is coming together. Everybody's doing this for free. All the artists have given me the music already for free. Russell Simmons is coming in and adding money. I'm doing it for free. When we want to do a storyboard, I went on Craigslist and said, I need somebody who's willing to do a storyboard for free so we could turn around the black on black killings in Chicago. A little Hispanic girl showed up, did the storyboards. They're awesome for free. All of this we're putting together so we can give it away. And by giving it away, we are empowering our community. And we always get that back. Another project that I'm doing right now is I'm going to Venice Beach in April. And where I started, and I'm shooting a 1-hour comedy special live on Venice Beach where I started. It's called The King of Venice Beach, and an amazing production designer put together a stage that looks like a king's crown, that I'm standing in a crown, and it's a boardwalk that goes out into the audience, and I'm going to be surrounded by thousands of people doing an outside live concert in April. You need to make your way to Venice Beach to see that, okay? And if you're following me on my social media, you'll know when it's going to happen because I talk about me every day. Okay, no, I think if anybody talk about me, it might as well be me. That way, I get all the facts straight. You know, so that is coming up. I have a book out right now on the president, which raises up and lifts up my president. And no, he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. There's more things I wish he would do for black people. There's more things I wish he would do in general. But he's awesome as he is right now. He's the most awesome black president we ever had. And to me, he's one of the best presidents we ever had, period. And we ain't gonna have another black president for a long time. Don't get excited about Ben Carson. I'm telling you right now. They ain't letting no more brothers in there for a long time. So we better embrace and celebrate this one. So I created a book called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the White House. I knocked on the door and a brother answered. Now you can get that at my store, because tonight my store just went up on the internet. I now have a store called shopmichaelcolyar.com, and you can purchase the book there or the DVD. The DVD has 40 comedians, white, black, young, old, gay, straight, transgendered, Asian, and Hispanic, and they all doing positive Obama comedy. So many people get negative stuff to say about President Obama that I just want to do vehicles that's totally positive. Because I tell you this, if Bush had killed Osama bin Laden, if he had ended that illegal war in Iraq that he started to cover his own behind for his failures in 9/11, if he had reinstated General Motors and created a health care bill that my mom and my grandmama could afford, his face would be on Mount Rushmore right now. President Obama has done that and so much more, and it's not enough. He could cure AIDS and cancer today. They'll say that nigga started in the first place. So we have to embrace him, lift him up. Remember how great he is. Remember how great Michelle is. Real sister Michelle, gangster. You know, she went on Ellen's show and did push-ups. She grew collard greens at the White House. She hugged the queen. You ain't gonna touch the queen. She's gangster. So we need to lift him up and raise him up. In this book, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the White House. I knocked on the door and the brother answered. Does exactly that. It lifts him up, and it's a historical record. So we'll always remember how great he was and how great he was during his term, and how no matter how they try to tear him down, he continued to do it with dignity and grace and character. He ain't get mad yet. He ain't walking around with his pants hanging off his behind, fists all balled up. He's still doing it beautiful, and they hate him because he still look wonderful as he's doing it. Whoa, women love him. Women love it. I know, because my woman was laying in bed the other night watching the president talk. She was laying there butt naked. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I don't know. I turned the sound down. So I'm just saying, I know y'all love him. Now we got to hold him up. So my book's called Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the White House. I knocked on the door and a brother answered. If you go to my store, I also have 2 other CDs. One is totally dirty. It's called Michael Colyar's original official bootleg. I bootleg my own CD. And I got one on there called Michael Colyar's Back, which is funny because I ain't never been nowhere. It is totally clean. I shot that on Bounce TV. So you got all this material that you can get. Plus I have 2 more books. I have one that's coming out within the next 3 months. That's called Miss Innocent Goes to Cool School and Other Silly Stuff. It's a poetry book for adult children, and it's off the chain. I'm going to turn it into a one-man show and take it around the country. And I'm finishing up my autobiography. It's called Michael Goes Motivational. I'm going to use it for my motivational speaking around the country. So people should know I'm hireable. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say all that right now because it's just a little show, but I'm hireable. Okay, and the reason I tell you this is because we're going through something. We don't have a swimming pool at my house. I know black people don't swim, but we need a pool. Okay, everybody else got a pool, we need a pool. Now last year I made enough money on the road to dig the hole in the backyard. All I'm trying to do now, people, is get cement money. Okay, so I want you to know I do parties. I do weddings, divorces, Passover, hangover. I do a party in a phone booth if you promise to call. I take green stamp, food stamps, Canadian money. I take your bus transfer if you get some time left over.